pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop.
Hello, and welcome to the Purple Pants Podcast Pit Stop coverage of our rewatch of Amazing Race Season 5. I am joined with my amazing, my talented, my ever so always dictating notes friend, the winner of Amazing Race Season 29, Miss Brooke Cam High. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. It feels like we never left. This is so great. We should have been doing this for years. I don't know why we haven't been, because I have heard from you no less than, 30 times in the past week being like, oh my God, old Amazing Race is like ridiculous and amazing and wonderful and ratchet. The whole thing is a mess, but a beautiful mess. And I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
Yes, I'm so excited, with Amazing Race probably not coming back until 2025. We have to do our due diligence to feed our flock. And everyone kept saying, like, y'all should watch an older season. Have Bryce watch an older season. And so Brooke and I have decided to watch Season 5. And whew.
Tell me I did not steer you wrong with the suggestion of Season 5.
You did not steer me wrong. It is a great season thus far. I'm only an episode in, but it makes me feel like I am in the basement watching on a TV that's in a wooden panel and that we're watching on a VCR, because it is very old watching. And it's taken me a little while to get into it, but whew. And again, I've only really recently gotten into Amazing Race through the Brooke since we've been covering on the podcast. And so I feel like I really only know the new era of Amazing Race. And baby,
well, get ready, because old era is messy. It is so the drama, the airports, the rule change, the things that were so different. We'll go through and point out the rules that have since changed, there are things that from this season that made rules change over it's very exciting. So I obviously have 10 pages of notes.
Oh, well, okay.
And a tequila sunrise, because honestly, it's noon somewhere, and I feel like I should be as messy as the season is.
I think you should be. Well, I'm just drinking a little spark. I'm drinking a sparkling water. We got to get out of big back season, so I'm trying to slim on down. So I'm just enjoying a little raspberry lime. But yes, I'm really excited to meet this cast. I think that they are a very interesting bunch. So before we get into the episode, I think we should just, meet the cast and share our first impressions of the people from the first episode.
We can do that. Let me just okay, fine. We can do the cast, but just the thing that's really interesting, I just want to say a couple of really quick things. One, our season went 37,000 miles. That was a lot. It's not the shortest by far, but this season went 72,000 miles. This one went 6 continents, 72,000 miles, 31 cities to our 17, and ours was not on the low end. 12 countries, and this filmed in 2004. So this is basically the 20-year anniversary of Season 5. Before this, which you wouldn't know because you haven't seen the earlier seasons, there was a fast forward. You know that from my season, which is a task that you can do and skip all other tasks and go to the finish line. There used to be a fast forward every leg. This is the first season where it was not every leg. And this is the first season where you will see later on that if there is a non-elimination leg, and this season there are 4, if it's a non-elimination leg and you come in last, there is a ridiculous penalty for coming in last place. So it's not a speed bump. It's not an extra task. It is something that causes a lot of problems and a lot of outrage amongst fans. So it gets changed pretty quickly. Anyway, I just wanted to share some of those little tidbits. And now let's talk about the cast.
Yes, let's talk about the cast. And I can tell that this season they go a lot of places, because I feel like just the travel alone, and no shade to Amazing Race season 34, but I feel like in this first episode they travel farther than they did in season 34. Okay, because they were out. But yes, let's meet this very interesting.
Oh, interesting is an
cast.
understatement. Okay.
We have
Brandon and Nicole.
God
who love
fearing,
Jesus, right?
who love Jesus. And I guess, Brandon is from the book of the man leads the house and the woman just stay home barefoot in kitchen, because that's what Brandon is given, is his way or the highway. What he say, he make the decisions.
So. Oh, I actually like that you're going to do this, because you have seen almost none of it and you don't know what happens. You don't know who wins. You don't know the evolution of the teams. So I kind of want to let you go. I don't want to spoil anything for you. So I'm going to sort of let you, but yes, they're models, dating models in their 20s. She's a former Miss Texas. And he makes it very, very clear a lot of the race that Jesus is leading them. And if it's meant to be, Jesus will light the way. Go Jesus. But there's a lot of, he would not be okay with me drinking this morning.
We love Jesus. I don't know if he'd be okay with me talking about him, me being a member of the LGBTQ plus community. I don't know what his Jesus thinks about that. But I mean, they're a young couple, and they seem pretty energetic. So outside of that, who else do we got? Oh, baby, we got Bob and Joyce, and by far one of my favorite teams thus far. I love me old good sister Joyce. I love that mom figure. They both are widowers. They both lost their spouses to cancer, and they have found love. And I just like through this first episode.
Online. They found each other online. And so just also fun fact, as people go home over the course of the season, not saying if or when Bob and Joyce go home, but as they do, at the end of each episode, I have started to go back and to do a little Where Are They Now segment. So all of the people we're talking about from 20 years ago will have a little update on where they are now and what they're doing with their lives, and if they're still together or alive. Whatever. It's fine.
Yes. And if they met online in 2024, like, what online site was they on? Christian Mingle?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
AOL dating. But I love them. I feel like they are an underdog team, and I feel like they could potentially win. So I like Bob and Joyce. And so I have very high hopes for Sister Joyce and Bob. Who do we have next? Yeah, and I picked this photo on purpose. Marshall and Lance. Now, in the beginning credits, I thought I was going to like the brothers, but I don't know how I feel about Marshall and Lance. That's all I got to say about them right now.
You might think I'm frozen, but I'm not. I'm subscribing to the if you have nothing nice to say. I want to like them. They're Jews from New Jersey who own a pizzeria. Like, I want to like them. The old school Amazing Race was rich in misogyny and not in kindness. And so I am going to stop talking about them.
I'm mad because they not too high on my list, okay? And I don't know if they could even jump as high as my list is. But who do we have next? Okay, ooh, child, we got Allison and Donnie. Allison was the runner-up on her season of Big Brother, and we have her boyfriend Donnie. I love Donnie.
I love Donnie too. Allison, fun fact, is the first contestant to cross over from one CBS reality TV show to another. So she did it first. Several have done it best. I think they are hilarious to watch. They, I think they're fun to watch. That being said, I don't think it would be fun to be them. They seem to want to murder each other the entire time that they're out there. Anyway, he's a student. She's listed as unemployed, but she was recently on Big Brother. They're in their 20s, from Pennsylvania, and they're physically fit and they're smart, but let's see if they implode. Who knows? I mean, I know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We like Donnie. You could keep Allison.
Oh.
Okay, listen.
Yay! I'm sorry, but yay, Charlotte is one of my favorite contestants ever. She's a beast. She is there to show the world that little people can do it. Also, there's no PC in the Amazing Race because people call her midget every leg of the race, and I actually don't think that's even correct. I don't think that she is technically a midget. I love Charlotte and Mira. They are a disaster in the best possible way. They put on a fake accent everywhere they go. I don't understand what the accent is. It's the same no matter what country they go to. They call everything bellissimo. They're nuts, but they're smart, and everyone hates them. And I don't know all the other contestants. The world loves them, and I am no exception. I enjoy every second that they're on the screen, and you will not change my mind. If you don't agree, there's no change in my mind. Just saying.
Yeah, I love them as well. I love the fact that, like, Charlotte is a little person, but she's like, that's not going to stop me. And also, like, in watching the first episode, it really kind of makes me think going back to Amazing Race season 33 with Rob and Corey, and with his dad being deaf, they made a lot of accommodations to make sure that the race was fair, and that everyone could compete fairly. It don't seem like no accommodations were made for Charlotte.
Nope.
And again, not that there are any accommodations that like technically should be made, but it just seems like Amazing Race, what is y'all doing? But shout out to my girl Charlotte because she plays no games, and I love them as well. We have
no accommodations to the point where it's like, if there's a task where it's like ride a bike or do this, they just can't do some of the things.
Right.
Because, like, they don't even, it's not even like they give Charlotte a bicycle that she could, it's just not possible. She doesn't care. There's no complaining. She just does it, and she does it well, and just bellissimo. Charlotte and Myrna. Okay, done with that.
Yeah. I love them. And I also feel like Charlotte was on TV around the same time as like Little People Big World was on TLC. And I really think that like Charlotte probably was such a pioneer in bringing like awareness to the little community. And I think that like, I just love her.
And this is Amazing Race's heyday. This is like double-digit million viewers every week. Like, this is when it was like, this is, I love them.
Yeah, I'm mad.
And love the fact that teams I don't like hate them. So that's even better. When Lance and Marshall do not enjoy Charlotte and Myrna, and I'm okay with it because Charlotte and Myrna are leaving them in the dust. So
okay. Charlotte is a little person, but she could run. Okay, Lance and Marshall
and lift and jump and fly. I don't even care. She's amazing.
Lance and Marshall, what can y'all do? Then we have Colin and Christy. Colin does look like a serial killer in this image here. I don't really have a lot. I don't have much of a take on them in the episode that I have watched. However, they give me like, I definitely feel like from watching this episode or that a couple like them will win, or it's going to be a couple, like a young couple is going to win. So I could potentially see them winning, but I don't really have much to give on Colin and Christy just yet.
The first thing that Colin says, I think in this clip, is I could be the most intense person to ever run the race. Now, it's interesting because I know what happens this season, and I know there is an episode this season which will show some of his intensity. But in the beginning, what we've seen so far, he seems very calm and very laid back. I don't remember that version. That's all I'm going to say about it. You're going to see some stuff. And I can't wait for you to get there. But she's also a former beauty queen. He's listed as a cell phone store owner. They're not married. They're just a together couple. They are still a together couple. Well, people who watch the show will know. But I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you see how it goes. On
okay. Oh, Let me put a little check in my book.
Yeah.
And then we have Jim and Marsha. Love Jim. I'm not too hot on Marsha this
Why?
episode. We can get there when we get there, but I'm not
Okay.
too hot on a Marsha. But shout out to a Jim. I think Marsha says, like, he treats me like a 16-year-old little girl. He's like, no, I treat you like a 26-year-old little girl. Okay. I like Papa Jim.
I like them both. She's a law student. He's a retired military helicopter pilot. He in the first minute of the show gashes his leg open and just keeps going. I like them both. I'm not sure what your distaste is for her, but that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion, even if it's not right. I think they're great. I love a daddy-daughter team. I at one point wanted to do this with my father, and I think we would have had no, we wouldn't. My dad doesn't treat me like a little kid, but I do think that I like their dynamic. But I did notice she was doing the Come On Dad before the Come On Dad was a thing.
Okay.
That became a Come On Dad thing. Shout out to Anna Lee.
Yes, she was a pioneer.
She was a pioneer.
Then we have our only diversity couple that is here, Chip and Kim.
Yeah, the initiative was not in effect yet. That's fair.
Not at all. I do love Chip and Kim. Chip, no one cannot tell me that he is not Rev Run from Run DMC's cousin, because he definitely looks like him. They have a online or computer something company, and then like their beginning clip, they're like, we spend 23 hours together. Girl, that's too much. That's too much. That's 22 hours too much to spend with somebody. But I like them. I like their energy. And again,
I do too. They're in their 40s, which I enjoy. I like when there's
a
little bit. Oh, no, they don't look it. I like when it's a little bit older. She owns a recruiting company. His is a web company. They spend all their time together. I really enjoy them. I think they have a good relationship and a good dynamic. And I like the fact that they're one of the. It's so interesting because it's like all teams in their 20s and all teams in their 40s and one old guy. Like it's not. There's not that much of a wide range. It's either this or you're that. So this is that, and let's see how they do.
Yeah, they're black. I'm rooting for them. I don't really have any other options, so I am definitely rooting for Chip and Kim.
All right, well, $5 to Bryce if Chip and Kim win the season.
Yes. Then we have Dennis and Erica.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I didn't really get a lot from them, but in their opening credit, I took this photo for a reason, because like they were like I think they're from New York. They were like walking down the street and they had like all these luxury bags. But I took this photo on purpose because they had all these bags from these name brand places, but all of the bags had nothing in them.
They're empty.
They are empty. So you are walking around with used Gucci empty bags.
That's hilarious.
They
are from New York. They were once engaged. I'm not sure how you go to once engaged and still stay around the person, but to each his own. He's a mortgage broker. She's a wedding planner. And again, in their 20s. Well, I don't have much to say about them, and I don't think there's necessarily much to say about them because you've seen episode 1, and okay.
So yeah, well, that's them.
That's them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we got my girls.
I hope you love them. Oh, thank God. Okay,
girls. My bowling team girls.
This is they're in their 40s. Linda and Karen. Bowling moms. Oh, I love that you love them. Good.
I love me some Linda and Karen. I think that they are spunky. I think that they are underrated.
They have hairstyles of the times.
And I'm pretty sure they probably still had the same hairstyles. We'll have to like look them up. But it's giving me, but I like them. I like bowling moms. I definitely think that I don't see them winning, but I definitely could see them like in the end. They have the right type of attitude, and I love their energy.
They're great. Linda was a tennis instructor, so she's physically fit. Karen is listed as homemaker. And they're moms. They're out there. They're doing great. They're having fun. They're positive on each other. they're one of the only female teams. There's 3 of them here, which is actually more than normal, but they're the only female team who is in their 40s. And so I love that they're out there. I love their positivity. I'm so happy you like them, because I wasn't sure if you would think they were like too happy for you.
Oh, no, we love them.
Love. Okay, good.
Yes. And
I know who you're not going to love, because I think there's only one left.
Okay, and I kept them for last. Hold on. Now my computer want to act a little slow. And then we have the identical twins, Cammy and Carla. And you could keep
Carly,
Cammy, Carla, Cammy.
You don't care. Yeah.
Not a huge fan of the twins.
Tell me why.
I don't like. I don't. There's something about them. And then I think there was one point in time where my girls hold on, wait, because
Charlotte and Myrna.
And first of all, there's not a lot of female lady on lady teams, and Charlotte and my girls was asking for help, and they did the old just ignore.
Oh, you're not going to be happy with the season then. Nobody is nice. Like, old Amazing Race is bitchy. But in the best way.
I mean, and I agree, but then because so maybe I lied a little bit. Okay, so I watched episode 2 too, and so the hypocrite.
Do you know who wins? Have you seen the whole thing?
No, I have not. I do not know who wins, but I just feel like the twins are hypocrites. I feel like the twins they give me this privileged air from just what I have gotten so far. So I not a fan of them.
Okay, as is your right.
I'm assuming you like them.
Not particularly. I don't really have. They're sort of flawn to me.
So I'm not wrong.
It's flawn. It's like you'll eat it because it's there, but like nobody orders flawn. It's fine. They get in some.
Not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Okay. And although there are only 11 teams,
there are 12.
12. I mean, because you get rid of twins, okay? But I also think we just need to talk about Zaddy
young Phil on a yacht
real quick, because Phil.
I mean, this is 20 years ago. Phil, some people look like they never grow up. Phil grew up. This is baby Phil, and he looks good.
Phil grew up a little bit, but younger
Phil on a yacht with the sun on his face. I will say he's not as animated in the early seasons. I think he came into his own a little bit later. He's a little bit more serious and like the straight man, as opposed to like having a little bit more fun and doing the walkthroughs of stuff. So it's interesting to see the evolution of Phil as well. But yeah, this is baby Phil.
Phil was trying to keep his job. He didn't know that like the fans would love him so much that he could have fun. He was just trying to be, but we love a Phil. So those are our teams. It's really exciting. It's just interesting just seeing the teams alone, because it's just like I just feel like they're all kind of like, I feel like all the teams but Chip and Kim could live in a town together. And
Chip and Kim are allowed to live in the town. Stop it.
No, they're allowed to live in the town.
They just don't.
I just feel like everyone from the season, they could all literally live in a town together, and you would like not like be surprised. And I feel like I know what that town would look like. But anyway, okay. I do. I feel like it would have political signs all over the place. Okay. It's just
guess who else is not living in that town? This girl.
Just giving something. But I'm not mad.
It is pretty funny because I did one of the Where Are They Nows, and Where Are They Now is campaigning for a certain political candidate.
Girl, I saw that too, because when I was looking for the people name, and not only are they campaigning, they had a little profile photo. Okay, but anyway, I still love them. It's not about their political.
Yeah, no, fair, totally fair. Yeah. Like who you like, love who you love, be who you are. Okay.
I'm just basing my assessment off of what you give me on this screen.
That's fair. Okay, so Phil on a yacht. Everyone comes. Okay, episode 1. Oh my god, I'm excited.
I know.
1. So there will be 4 non-elimination episodes. Like I said, there's a penalty that's ridiculous for losing one of those. Here we go, episode 1. So Phil is on a yacht, and also Amazing Race, like, used to spare no expense. One of the things that's so interesting. Everyone's driving Mercedes, but that's not even my point. There is a rule in the Amazing Race which took place. There are a couple rule changes from season 5. One rule change from season 5 is there was no rule as to how many roadblocks a partner could do. So there are a couple teams here where one partner does every roadblock except one. There are certain people on this season that did one roadblock and made it to the end. No rule on even roadblocks, which is kind of ridiculous. Glad they changed that. Also, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to also say, just from the first 30 seconds of the episode, what's clearly you have to stay within 3 feet of your partner rule must have not have been implemented yet, because some of these people are literally running 2 miles ahead of their partner and opening the clue. But I digress because I'm still new here, but I'm friends with Brooke Cam High, and I know that should not be flying. Because hey, what did they yell at?
20 feet. 20 feet.
Some of these people are 6 miles praying to Jesus, and they partnered. Okay, anyway, all right.
Guess who's not in last place though, ever? Charlotte. Love you, Charlotte. Okay, also, there was never, in the beginning, there was not a rule that you had to buy one plane ticket and then you couldn't buy others. The Amazing Race wasted so much money, tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars each time on plane tickets that were never used. You could buy a ticket, go to another counter, find a better flight, buy that ticket, and waste your first ticket. So you could buy as many flights as you wanted. The new rules are you buy a flight, you get that flight, that's your flight, the end, because they were wasting 6 digits on flights.
I'm sure people that were riding standbys of those flights were very happy that the Amazing Race was doing that.
Okay, anyway, so most teams, who cares, whatever. Okay. Whew. So everyone's at the start line. Phil does his spiel. I start to cry because it doesn't matter if it's season 1 or season 30, whatever we just did. But I feel it. I love it. Everyone's so excited. It's not in HG, so it's a little harder to watch, but otherwise it's fine. And they are off. And immediately, Marsha's dad falls to the ground, splits his leg open, doesn't say a word or complain. He's great. Like, he keeps his mouth shut, but ultimately ends up eating 25 stitches at the airport. How they end up getting to a medic at the airport, getting him stitches and getting on an airplane, I don't know. But they do it. I've jumped ahead. Anyway, look at that leg. He's a trooper. Meanwhile, Marshall and Lance are a little bit slow and everything sucks and the world is horrible and blah, blah. I hope they don't watch this because they'll fight back.
And listen, and the Purple Pants Posse don't play, so Marshall and Lance don't want none of that. But I do also love their snarkiness, though. I do think it adds something to the show. So although
that's fair. I don't like how many times they call a woman a bitch. Like that, I'm not into. I mean, maybe it did not age well. That being said, I do appreciate the fact that none of these people realize they're on television, because I suffered from the problem of not realizing I was on television. I just said anything that came to mind. Thankfully, nothing that came to my mind was, I don't know, sexist, racist, or horrible against the local country. But these people also did not realize that they were on television and just said their stream of consciousness into their microphones. So I do appreciate the messiness of it. I don't sometimes appreciate the message of it. But
also in the beginning, there also was, I feel like Dennis was on the ground and he felt like somebody tripped him.
Oh, 6 people got trampled. It was amazing. Within the first 30 seconds, so many people got trampled. You know who didn't get trampled? Sharla, because she's awesome. Anyway,
neither did Barbara Joyce. Right. And neither did Karen and Linda. Okay.
Karen and Linda are the shit. Okay, so the teams are told there are 2 flights that they can take. They are going. Oh my God, where are they even going? Brooke. I don't know. They're going somewhere. Uruguay. Okay, so the team, which is, I think, the furthest place that their most recent season went, but this is the first stop on season 5, and my light just went out. Anyway, they're told that they can take 2 flights. The Amazing Race in all its beauty messes with them in moment 1. The flight that leaves first gets in second. The flight that leaves second gets in first. Love it, because some people were smart enough to pay attention and go to one gate and go to the other and figure it out. And other people just said, what?
Because, see, this is where it kind of sort of pissed me off a little bit. It pissed me off 2 ways, because Dennis and Erica, they pissed me off because first of all, and I'm like, there has to be a rule that you cannot do this. So Dennis and Erica, they get to their, I want to say United flight, and that's the first flight, and
American
flight, and they are purchasing tickets for the two other teams that they kind of like started working with. And I'm like, oh, James and Will weren't the original creators of the alliances.
So stop hating on Will and James, right?
So all these people that's hating on Will and James and Danny and Angie, please go back to season 5.
Yeah, this is not new.
they was teaming up back then. And so, first of all, not Dennis and Erica just holding up the line. And mind you, the other teams get there. And this is where it's like Amazing Race is great because, and this is also where Marshall and Lance, although I don't like them, I love them here because they're like, what a jerk. You're just going to stand there and hold up the line? Like, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then, Dennis is firing back. Now, here's the thing that pissed me off. The other team purchased their tickets. And so Dennis and Erica are like, we don't know really what to do. We're waiting for the other team to come back.
Screwed over. They got screwed over a bit. They were trying to purchase for somebody else. Allison and Donnie and Brandon and Cole, they were all sort of working together. And they got tickets on the United flight, which was the faster flight, and sort of didn't help out Dennis and Erica. So anyway, on the first flight, that is the slower flight, you have Dennis and Erica, Colin and Christy, Chip and Kim, and Marshall and Lance. And they're so excited they're on the first flight until they realize we're idiots. The second flight gets in first, where you have Allison and Donnie, Cammie and Carly, everybody else, Charlotte Myrna, Linda Karen, Brandon Nicole, Jim and Marsha, who make the flight despite the fact that he has to get 25 stitches, and Bob and Joyce. Woo, goodbye. Bob is bleeding. They get on the plane. They make it with a second to spare. Everything is so dramatic in season 5, and it does not let up. It stays dramatic. So everyone, it's so great. I can't wait for you to watch the whole thing. It's so messy and so beautiful. So anyway, they're all flying to you.
Where the hell is TSA? I mean, I know it probably wasn't there at that point, but I'm like, they worried about getting to the airport. Well, you can literally just smoke a cigarette and get on the plane at this point, okay? But I also love when the medic was there. I'd never seen an airport medic just walk up to somebody and say, hey, are you okay? Thought that was interesting. Like, if y'all just have a medic, just say that you're a medic. I also feel like this is the era that the Amazing Race is probably trying to make it seem like realistic, and they didn't want to make it seem like they were traveling with a doctor. But
also, how badly do you have to like rip your leg open to need 25 stitches? Like, that's a deep gash. Like,
and you still ran.
Yeah, he's no joke, man.
Yeah.
He's no joke. I know you don't love the Donner, but he's no joke. Anyway, okay. So they have to go to Uruguay and have to find a hand in the sand, which is such a cool art installation, but also the darkest, saddest thing.
Girl, I said the same thing. I'm like, wait.
Hand in the Sand, which is a huge statue that shows the last thing you see before somebody drowns and dies. Like, what? Who made art out of this? It's very cool. I want to go see it, but like, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on that. I thought it was just me, bro, because I was like, that's kind of dark as shit.
It's not kind of dark. It's like it's dark. It's cool, but it's dark. Anyway, okay, so they have to find the statue. It's 75 miles on a bus from the airport.
75 miles.
Yeah. 75 miles on a bus.
Could you imagine if Danny and Angie, where their audio team would be if they were on this season? Jesus.
Shout out to Danny and Angie. We're going to hear about them every episode. I'm into that. I'm a fan. Totally a fan. Okay. So the best part, I don't know if you've noticed this yet because you've only watched the very beginning. One of my favorite things, it makes no sense. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so put on, is Myrna especially has this, I don't know where it's from because it's not real accent when she talks to everybody. She doesn't have it when she talks to her partner or when she talks to Phil or when she talks to the camera. But all of a sudden, hello, my friend, and Mr. and so on. And it's just the most put on ridiculous accent. I will tell you, no matter where she goes in the world, everything is bellissimo. Like, it is so funny to me. But the best thing that Mirna and Charla do, or Mirna and Shmirna, if you talk to other people on the race, that's what they call them, Mirna and Shmirna. Well, the best thing they do is they exploit Charla's little personness, and she's into it. She's like, people love to help me. People see me and they think I'm so cute and that I'm in need of help. They don't know that I can do everything better than anybody else, but I'm going to use it. And good on her, because it works at every turn.
Because
everybody is willing to throw Charla over their shoulder or in their car or whatever they need to do. And it is glorious. Yes. It's glorious. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank God that the people in these cities are willing to make the accommodations for her, because Amazing Race damn sure didn't.
And you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, but I love it because it's really her superpower. And I always say this to people: it's like, what you think makes you different when you're younger, that it's really the thing in life that truly is your superpower. And I'm just so happy that Charla understands that, and I love her utilizing it to her benefit. And so, reason number 4 why we love them.
Not you using your Danny and Angie reasons and Charla and Mirna. I love it. Okay, so they have to take a ferry now to Garidi Island. So all of the back teams, who are now the front teams, are on their way there. And I don't care about this page. No, I didn't write anything good. So they go to Garidi Island to find their next clue. On ferry number 1, you have Allison and Donnie, Cammy and Carly, whom you don't like, and Bob and Joyce. Bob and Joyce, the old people, are at the front. On ferry 2, you have Charla and Mirna and Marcia and Jim. I got to tell you, everyone in the 40s are up toward the front, which is great. I mean, I'm fine with it. And the fun part is because they're all on the slower, later flight, that gave them the advantage. And I kind of think Amazing Race did it on purpose, because people weren't paying attention. All those 20-somethings who don't think to check. So I like the fact that you have all of the 40-somethings in the front, because they were on the slower, later flight. And then you have all of those 20-somethings who don't think to check the other flight. They just think it leaves first, so it might as well come in first. And they're all in the back. And I think the Amazing Race did it on purpose, and I'm fine with it. So on ferry 3, you have Brandon and Nicole. Brandon's sitting there going, don't worry, the Lord will protect us. I'm not making this up. This is what he says. And you have Linda and Karen. And in ferry 4, you have Donnie and Erica, Chip and Kim, Colin and Christy, and Marshall and Lance. So on the island, the best part about this is there are so many extra stops that the teams have to make. It's not go here, do task, go here, do task, go to pit stop. There are so many extra get a clue places that I really enjoy that. There were so many opportunities to change the order, because there are so many additional places you have to go. So the teams get to Garidi Island, and they have to search for tickets on the trees for a ferry leaving the next morning. Once you rip a ticket, you cannot rip another. So the teams that get there first are smart enough to look around and not rip things. So on the 8 a.m. ferry, you have Bob and Joyce, Allison and Donnie, and Linda and Karen. I like this. On the next ferry, you have Cammy and Carly, Jim and Marcia, and Charla and Mirna. And bringing up the rear, because honestly, Brandon just says, just take the 9 a.m. It must be early. I don't understand. You have Brandon and Nicole, Colin and Christy, Marshall and Lance, Dennis and Erica, and Chip and Kim, who I want them to be in the front so badly because, diversity. Okay.
I also love at this point where Bob and Joyce realize that they're at the front of the pack. And I think that he even says something to Joyce where it's just like, we can do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm all in for a Bob and a Joyce to come first in this leg. I just enjoy them a lot.
Well, it's not going to happen. That being said, I do very much enjoy their positivity too, because honestly, they could have looked around at the start line and seen very few people who were in their age bracket. Now, the Amazing Race used to, on my season, I was 36. I was the second oldest woman by 1 year. There was a girl 1 year older than me, and I was like the third or fourth oldest kid. There was one guy in his 40s, and then one guy a year older than me, the girl a year older than me, and me. I was the old person. I was the grandparents on my season of the race. It was unreal to me, because there used to be teams that never left the U.S., teams that had never, traveled, teams that were older, teams that were and I looked around and I went, oh, F. I took a rowing class and climbed a rock wall, and I was like, I'm good. I'm in decent shape. I got this. All ultra marathon runners and CrossFitters and ridiculous. This had a lot of young people, and Bob and Joyce could have started very discouraged, but they didn't. I liked their positive attitude because they were the Brooke of season.
Yeah. And I also think like with a Bob and Joyce and even like a Jim and Marissa or Marsha, right? Like, again, it's 2004. Travel was a lot different back then, but I also feel like their seasoned travelness kind of shows up, which is why they are doing so well. Another thing that I thought was so interesting, like, what the hell is going on? Like, not all of the teams had like eat dinner together. They're sleeping in this tent together. We don't see that as much, or
because it doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
There is a rule change that happened after, I want to say, season 13, where the mix and mingle with the others. We had it in two legs, where we got to have dinner together once in Africa, and we all stayed in tents around a fire in Norway. But every leg previously, the teams had a rest period where they would mix and mingle and get to know each other. It's great.
I feel like in the Alliance era, I could see how that is problematic. Or there could be a team behind, or you're trying to gang up on the team, and you could kind of like talk strategy with another team. So I could see how that's problematic, but I also just kind of love it though. Like,
you want to know why it stopped?
Okay, tell me. Yeah,
I think it's season 13. I may have the number wrong. I actually think I do have the number wrong now, so someone will correct me. But there was a scandal where one team apparently stole the sports bra of a member of another team and like threw it off a balcony and caused issue where they stopped the mix and mingle because they were saying that people were like taking each other's stuff, and it wasn't on camera, and it was a shanda, which is Yiddish for scandal. And so they stopped it. They shouldn't have. I actually really enjoyed mingling with the other teams, but the rule then became, or the thought process became, we want everything on camera so we can document the drama. But the mix and mingle was a great thing. The other interesting thing is during this season and the early seasons, it was a 12-hour pit stop. So it was, you get in at 9 p.m., you leave at 9 a.m., no matter what. Ours, before it became this group start thing, which is garbage and change, ours was a predetermined pit stop. So there were some that were 8 hours. There were some that were 12. There was one that was 30. And I think that's because there was like political unrest in one of the places we were. So they had to postpone our start of it. But it was a predetermined amount of time, and you left in the order you came. But this was 12, which is so interesting because you will see later in the season, and I won't tell you who or where or why, but there is an episode this season where a team checks in before other teams even get to the country where they're going because of the timing of when they leave and the operating hours of certain tasks. So I think this is part of the reason why they changed the 12 hours and made it a predetermined amount of time so that there's more bunchings and groupings. So
yeah, because it was interesting to see like the team that got here at like 12:30 p.m. They left at 12:30 a.m. I said, it like, again, watching just this first episode, it really kind of like ignites my hunger. I could see why during this time period, just like Survivor, people are falling in love with this show because it is so fun. For me, I look at Amazing Race and it's like travel and like you competing, but for it seemed like in these older eras, it was so much more. Like,
makes you want to do it, right?
Right.
Makes you want to do it.
It really does. It really
There
does.
was one time I set my little watch alarm for like 3:30 in the morning. I was like, I got to leave at 4:30 a.m. I'm ready to go. And I loved that. I love knowing. And the best part is you didn't know how long the pit stop was until you got there. They're like, okay, 8 hours. And 8 hours, not long. You have to do your interview. You have to eat something. You have to shower. You have to like try and sleep, and you have to be up and ready to go. That 8-hour pit stop that's a hard one because you don't really have time to sleep or rejuvenate. And so it's good. It's just pure goodness. Anyway, okay. So there's a cool scene of everyone camping, which you were just showing. Yes. Cammie and Carly make a comment that I know you don't love them, but they're like, this place is so beautiful, followed immediately by a comment by Marshall and Lance saying this place is hell. Like, there is not a positive thing that comes out of Marshall and Lance's mouth ever. Now, I understand editing because they took out a lot of my happy. That being said, I don't think they had any happy. Marshall, I don't think that they took out their happy. I genuinely think that those two, whether it was their shtick and they just wanted to be seen as like the people who were just nothing is good, or that's genuinely how they feel or felt about the race. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear from them, but not that curious. Okay, so the teams make their way to this place, Maldonado, and find this meat warehouse to find their next. Am I in the right place? I think I'm in the right place.
Did I skip they gotta. I think don't they have to? They gotta get on the boats.
Okay, yeah.
And so they gotta get on the boat. They get off the dock. Then they have to find the flag. They keep saying the flag. And here's my biggest issue with Amazing Race thus far, me being a newer watcher going back to watch the old things. They need to work on their logos, right? Like they keep saying flag, but it's a mailbox, and then the flag's at the bottom. Like when they say the flag, we be seeing the flag, and I do have to agree with some people where they're looking for the flag and it's a mailbox. It's not really like what they're actually looking for. Also, I do love how it's hidden in plain sight, right?
Yes.
I do love that aspect of it. But
race blinders are real.
Yes. But I don't really love how y'all saying a flag. This is not a flag, Phil.
It is a flag. That's a flag right underneath the clue box. That's a flag. Agree to disagree. And I know you think it's not bright enough. I know you think the colors aren't vivid, but it's the same exact box. It's not an HD. It is what it is. It's the flag.
So I'm going to say this. If you said like because you said the importance of reading the clue should have said look for the mailbox and the flag underneath, not the flag. Because if you say flag, I'm not looking for a mailbox. That's all. Because I was a little pissed off. But also shout out to my girl Charla. Okay, and also. A part of the reason why I don't like Marsha, she's on my list, is when we were in the forest, or we're getting to the forest, the ladies asked them to help them. Marsha ignored them. Then they found a 9 o'clock time, kept looking. Then my girls was like, did you find the time? And Marsha was like, no. Now, I'm fine. I like the competitiveness, but don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite.
I don't think Marsha complained, though, that nobody helped her. I mean, I don't think she was like, I didn't help somebody, but nobody helped me. So I'm not mad about it because there are people who would be like, didn't help someone and then got mad they weren't helped. I mean, get over yourselves. You didn't help someone. But okay, you're free to dislike who you like. That's okay. We mostly agree on that.
I'm open to changing, but anybody that comes against my girls, and when I say my girls, I mean Carla, Sharna, and...
Charlotte and Myrna. Okay.
Charlotte and Myrna.
We know.
Anybody that says derogatory terms about having a little person on the team, like what? Whew. Yeah, that was getting me hot. But okay. So then they had to find this mailbox, and the mailbox
sent them to this meat warehouse, right?
Yes.
Okay. So so anyway, they have to find this meat warehouse. So most people are taking a bus. Charlotte and Mira take a cab. Everyone's catching up with everybody. It's not important. The important part about this is they have to carry a 55-pound slab of meat a half a mile to a butcher to get the next clue. Now, also, there's something called a yield. I don't think you've seen it before because it's earlier seasons and it sort of goes away.
I've seen it before. The first season that we watched, I want to say Lulu and Lala, we watched. Yes.
So a yield is you can choose to yield a team. If they're behind you, they have to do it. If they're not behind you, too bad, you wasted it. For a predetermined period of time, there used to be a little hourglass. They had to turn it over, wait for the sand to run out, yield. Anyway, there's one on every leg of this race. Most of the time, people are choosing not to use it, so they don't even air it. But they show it the first time. Nobody uses it. Donnie and Allison are the first ones there. Donnie and Allison? That's right? He has no problem carrying the meat. Charla.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem carrying the meat either, but
it is more than half my body weight. It's more than a lot of people's body weight. But the thing is this, Charla takes Mirna's backpack, puts it around her neck. She's carrying 2 backpacks. She literally looks like a human backpack where Mirna's trying to carry this meat. Girl is dying. But in old school Amazing Race, there are no rules against anything. And you can basically have locals do your task for you. They can do it for you. They can lead you where you need to go. You can pay a taxi when you're on a self-drive to drive you where you need to go. That rule was changed. But you can do basically, it's the Wild West. There are no rules against anything. And ultimately, Mira gives it to Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte is the muscle. There is nothing this woman can't do, and she does not complain about it. What is that like? I want to be more like her.
I also find it so interesting. They clearly weren't doing the consents back then, because normally when we see in the new era of Amazing Race, like you'll see the people like try to talk to somebody and then they'll kind of like cut and then they're like showing them their phone. I love, you can see the whole interaction of them trying to get the people's attention.
The best part too is back in 2004, like, yes, there were cell phones and people had them, but it was not the cell phones we have today. So it's not like you could go right up to someone, and people weren't holding like a little computer in their hand. They were holding like a Nokia flip phone or like a Motorola flip phone. So they just
could show you how to play Snake on the phone.
Oh my God, Snake. Do you remember Snake?
Oh,
so, but like Snake. The point is, like, it wasn't like, how do I get here? Look it up on your phone. Can I see your phone? It's, how do I get here? And I think that's part of why the rule changed. And you could have a local who knew where they were going lead you where you were going. Anyway, Bob carries the meat, no problem. Donnie and Allison get there first. The bowling moms do an amazing job. Charlotte and Myrna go 4 blocks past where they need to go and still get back there because Charlotte is a beast. And one by one, they all arrive. Then they all have to go because this leg is not over. It's a mega leg without being a mega leg.
Okay.
It's unreal. Then they all have to go to Punta del Este to find the blue and white hotel.
Ciao. Now,
and find their clue across the street from the blue and white hotel. This is not the Amazing Race's fault. They were very clear and they said it's across the street from the hotel.
But see, because I got some issues with this where I feel like, now granted, I'm not mad because the clue it very clearly said across the street. There were some people that then saw the actual flag by the casino, and I just like to point out they saw a flag.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But it said find your clue. It didn't say look for the flag at the building. It said find your clue across the street. Let me just say one thing too. Earlier in the episode, Donnie got crucified by Marshall and Lance for like buying tickets for other teams, and this is, I think, not Donnie, Dennis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the cab.
Yes,
Ciao.
They're all waiting for a cab. And Dennis and Erica let Colin and Christy take a cab in front of them, which is the dumbest thing you can possibly do because he didn't want to be seen as a mean guy and wanted to be seen as a nice guy. This screwed them over. So it's one thing to be nice and be helpful. It's another thing to shoot yourself in the foot and hamstring yourself for the rest of the leg. Anyway, they all make their way to the blue and white hotel. And this is where you have the detour. There's no roadblock. So this is where you have the detour. Almost everybody finds the clue across the street from the hotel. 2 teams do not. You have Cammie and Carly and Chip and Kim who just find the flag. And they go in. The detours are zips or chips. And in zips, you have to zip line from 210 feet above the ground, down the side of the hotel, into a pool. I mean, fun. Okay. In a heartbeat, I'm doing this. Love it. And then in chips, you have to win a hand of roulette. A round of roulette, a spin of roulette.
A spin of roulette. You just got to guess the number in the color.
I love roulette. The thing about the roulette is, and they didn't tell you this, I don't think, until you got into the casino. They gave you 20 chips. If you lost all your chips, you had to then go do the other task. And you were only allowed to use 5 at a time. Because if I'm thinking to myself, I have 20 chips, I can put them on the corners. I don't have to pick specific numbers. I win on hand 1. There's no question. You can win roulette every time if you don't really care about winning money. But you can only play 5, and you had to pick 1 number each. So it was really a game of chance. I don't think that's something that people should have done.
So that was interesting because I just was like, it's really just a numbers game. You'll just sit there and just like, but I didn't know that. So that was
you get
like really
20 chips, which means you got 4 spins of the wheel. If you didn't win in those 4 tries, you got to go do the other one. So why
you're already in the hotel though? You just got to go straight upstairs. This
sure.
is where Chip and Kim pissed me off, okay?
Oh.
Not even really pissed me off. It was that Chip saw the flag and he just was like ready to go. Kim, I want to say 3 times
she did
said it said across the street. And I was just pissed off that she didn't speak up enough to Chip to be like, hey, we are missing something. I just also really do feel like they should not have been able to play the game. Like, I really do feel like the person there should have just stood there and that like they should have asked or like seen the clue. I was like, I didn't like that because I just felt like
I actually disagree. I do think they should have been allowed to play the game. I think it should have been exactly how it was. And I think in later seasons, current seasons, they should also be allowed to do the task and then have to go back and find the clue that they missed. I think that's actually a more fun way to do it rather than saying, nope, you can't be here and giving them a heads up that there's something they're missing.
I also do feel like, okay, I'm not mad at that, but in that same train of thought though, right? Like if you get somewhere and then they're like, no, you actually have to go back and get the clue. When you get the clue, I feel like you then have to do the task again. I feel like you shouldn't just, you shouldn't just be like, oh, we did the task already. Well, no, the task is reading the clue and figuring out what the options are. But I digress.
Okay, fair enough. So ziplining, you have Allison and Donnie, they finish first. Then you have Linda and Karen, they finished second. Then inside the casino, you have Cammie and Carly, who have missed the clue but finished third. You have Marshall and Lance, who finished fourth with the roulette. You have Chip and Kim, who have missed the clue and finished sixth. And then back on top of the building, Bob and Joyce are sliding down the side of the building. They're in sixth. Charlotte and Myrna go inside and play roulette. The best part is Myrna's like, okay, every number, please. And they're like, no, 5 only. And she's like, she realized that she made a numbers mistake, but they still get lucky and they win.
I also love how she's like, let's play another game. Let's play another game. Like this girl trying to girl, you was on the Amazing Race.
She's like, she goes, we can win more money. And she's like, we'll have money for the next leg. It's not the dumbest idea. I mean, it's not a great idea, but it's kind of hilarious because she knows we only have as much as they give us. And she's like, maybe we could just like double our money. And then, we're not in a bad spot. Anyway, Brandon and Nicole have God on their side and they go down the side of the building. Colin and Christy are ninth. Jim and Marcia, even though he has 25 stitches in his leg, decides to go jump into the chlorinated water. And then Dennis and Erica are last because they've given up their cab and whatever. But Chip and Kim check in first, but they have to go back and get their clue. Same thing with Cammie and Carly because they've missed something. I love this. I love when the race set, because what's interesting is if you do something wrong, there's a couple of options. They can give you a penalty. On my first episode, a team got a 30-minute penalty and had to wait it out, and they ended up going home. Or they can say, go back and get your clue, or they can stop you mid-tracks and say, get your clue, and then come back here and do your task. I like the way they did this. They said you have to go back and get it, and then you can check in. While Chip and Kim are going back to get their clue, and Cammie and Carly, Allison and Donnie check in first. They win a trip to Hawaii. Marshall and Lance come in second. They make some sort of weirdo perverted comment. Some perverted comment about the check-in person. I know whatever. Linda and Karen check in third. Bob and Joyce in the top half check in fourth. Charlotte and Myrna. The other great thing, every time they get to a pit stop, they will hug Phil. They just want to touch him. She's like, Phil is so handsome. I'm sorry we smell bad. And they hug him every time. It's so cute. Brandon, Nicole, and Jesus come in sixth. Colin and Christy come in seventh.
Not Jesus.
He's on their team. And Colin and Christy come in seventh. And they're just very even-keeled. Knowing what I know, I don't remember that side of them. Chip and Kim go back, get their clue, come back and check in eighth. Cammie and Carly do the same. They get in ninth. Jim and Martha are in 10th. Marcia are in 10th. And Dennis and Erica, unfortunately, nice guys, do finish last. And they come in last. Now, in a segment I'm going to call Where Are They Now? Dennis and Erica broke up almost, pretty quickly after the season was over. There was some scandal where she went naked skydiving. She then, however, became a casting director for The Amazing Race and Survivor and co-owned a gym with Parvati from Survivor, some sort of ESP wellness with Parvati. Dennis has a cute dog named Jack and is a mortgage broker. Woo! There we go.
Okay. I like them. I like I felt like they got screwed over,
too.
and right, and I just I feel like they could have really gone far in the game.
I feel like they were the Allison and Donnie that you wanted to like more. You know what I mean? Like the two teams right there had a very similar, not a similar way of talking to each other, but like I could see how people might confuse them at the beginning. Like good looking male female team, young 20s, like dating couple, not together, not together.
Right.
But Dennis was so nice. I also think Donnie is cool, but the dynamic between Dennis and Erica was better. Donnie and Allison, I think wish each other dead. I don't even know how they were next to each other most of the time, but I'm sad to see them go because I think Dennis was way nicer than Marshall and Lance tried to make him out to be, and it ended up costing them, and they went home first.
Yeah, that sucks. I was like not expecting that, but as the end of the episode, I could kind of, when he put that cab up, I was like, what are you doing? But also in his mind, I would imagine like he's trying to make right, like he's playing the long game. And again, I feel like sometimes in games like this, you can't really.
I mean, the long game doesn't work if you're not in it anymore.
Okay. Well, listen, that is episode 1 of season 5 of The Amazing Race. Thank you so much for watching this rewatch with us. We will be back next week covering Amazing Race, season 5, episode 2. Thanks so much for listening. Please let us know in the comments what you think about these teams so far and what episodes you think we are going to enjoy watching. This has been your Purple Pants Podcast. Pit stop.
Bye.
Pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop.